Welcome to the Athlete Insights Podcast, hosted by Yash Padhye, a podcast focused on letting athletes tell their journeys in their sport. This podcast is presented by Boxed Water. Boxed water is better.
Welcome into another episode of the Athletes Insights Podcast. Today I've got my guest, Caleb Shaw. He's a member of the Grand Canyon University men's basketball team. So, Caleb, welcome into to the show, man.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Hey, this is our first show since getting a partnership and a sponsorship from Boxed Water. So this is a big episode. So
It's a big deal.
it's a big deal, man. So want to kind of get into your background and kind of how you started playing basketball, your early years playing basketball. And so what kind of drew you, when was the first time that you touched a basketball that you can remember, and kind of what drew you to playing basketball versus something like football or baseball or other sports like that?
Geez, yeah. I mean, I think the earliest memory was probably camp in Valparaiso, which is where I was born and grew up, kind of in Indiana. I think that's kind of like the earliest memory of playing basketball. But what drew me to basketball was definitely my family.
Yeah.
I come from a long line of like basketball players and coaches, and so
Okay.
it was kind of something that I was just a part of. Growing up, was you're just around the game, and so
Mhm.
I think that's what kind of drew it. It was kind of a family kind of thing to do. So
Yeah. And so you said you're originally from Indiana? Are you
yeah,
grew
it's
up in
it's
the
it-
Indiana
it's
area?
interesting because I kind of lived all over.
Okay.
So
Okay.
kind of the first 8 years of my life, I lived in Italy when my dad was playing basketball, and
Okay.
I would live in the summers. I would live in Indiana, and that's where
Okay.
probably my earliest memories of basketball were going to the basketball camps. So
Well, we have an Indiana connection. I went to Ball State for my undergrad in Muncie, so we have an
oh,
Indiana kind of connection there, man. So
there we go. Yep.
tried to draw the parallel there. But you talk about how was that like? You said you grew up in Italy when your dad was playing basketball. Kind of how was that like growing up in Europe and experiencing that culture, and then kind of how has that helped you now as you've grown here in the States?
I think honestly, just helped me adapt and be able to adapt to different, circumstances. When you're over there, no one speaks the language.
Yeah.
Um, food's different, people act different, different cultures. So I
Yeah.
think just being around a whole different culture has helped me now in my life and being able to understand people just in general. So
Mhm. You know who else grew up in Italy, Caleb, and played ball here?
who's that?
Kobe.
Oh yeah,
He
yeah,
grew up
Kobe
in
did.
Italy,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And came out here, played balled out, had a
Yep.
hell of a career. So, I'm wishing the best of luck to you moving forward and into your season and into the as you move forward into your basketball career. But yeah, just drawing some parallels there, man.
Yep. Yep.
Overall. So, but what would you say in kind of your early basketball career, your youth career, kind of what would you say was the biggest challenge that you faced? You talked about kind of the different culture and the different aspects of that, but basketball wise, what was kind of the biggest challenge that you faced?
Basketball wise, probably growing up, my dad always made me play up. So I was always playing with the fifth graders when I was in third grade,
Okay.
seventh graders when I was in fifth grade. So I was always playing up. So that definitely was probably the challenge of, playing up. But as you look at it now, it's like one of the biggest things that's helped me is being able to play with older guys. And so,
Mhm.
it ends up being a blessing.
Yeah, helps you grow and helps you mature quicker into that role because you're playing with the
Yeah.
older guys there, and so you go through kind of your youth career, from a young age. You're going into the now. Let's kind of transition into high school. What was your experience playing high school ball? Your Arizona Player of the Year in high school. One year you've won a state title, Arizona. And so when you were in high school, and so kind of what was your experience like playing high school ball out there?
Man, so I started my high school career actually in Nashville. It was
Okay.
when my dad was coaching at Vanderbilt. But so I spent the first 2 years there,
Mhm.
and honestly, I had a pretty rough freshman year. I played up on varsity, but I didn't get the minutes I wanted or whatever.
Mhm.
And I think that kind of started off my high school career as like being very motivated of like I have to work harder, I have to be better if I really want to do this.
Yeah.
And so my sophomore year was a great year. I hit, I want to say 94 threes in the
Ooh, okay.
year. Yeah. And I had a really good year. I was all district, all region, and all that. So I had a
Mhm.
really good sophomore year. And then that's when we moved to Phoenix. And that year, my junior year, I suffered with an injury in my knee,
Okay.
and I missed my entire junior year. And so, part of me was like, man, is this it? Like, am I done with basketball? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know how good I'm gonna be when I come back.
Yeah.
Um, but luckily, I found Valley Christian here in Arizona, and they took me in with open arms, and they kind of let me take over the team and lead us. And I ended up having a really good senior year,
Yeah.
like you said, winning the state championship. So that's
Yeah.
kind of just how the whole high school career went, just kind of the rundown. But
And
definitely some ups and downs. Yeah.
for sure, for sure. And you talk about that down period of being out your entire junior year. How and you just mentioned there you had thoughts about basketball over and kind of how you were going to be. What did you do to kind of get those thoughts and get those kind of those negative emotions and feelings out of your system during that
I
time?
think uh I think I just realized
Yeah,
that, either you got to go take it or or you're done, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So,
yeah,
I think just that mindset was like, I really want to do this. I really want to play college basketball. And if I'm going to do it, I have to work really, really hard. And so,
yeah,
it was definitely a process to come back. And it took several months to, get myself to feel like the way I felt like my sophomore year.
yeah,
But it's just consistency and staying in the gym, working hard, and having a positive mindset of like, hey, if I keep working, I'll
yeah.
be able to get back to where I was.
For
So
sure. For sure. And because your high school career, as you mentioned, went from Nashville to Phoenix to the adversity that you faced throughout, how was your college recruiting process? Can you walk me through that and kind of from that high school perspective? How was your recruiting process going into college?
yeah, I mean, I started getting recruited summer of sophomore year, going into my junior year.
Okay.
And there were a lot of coaches hitting me up and whatever. And then when I got hurt, everyone just kind of dies out. So,
Yeah.
um, missing my whole junior year, I missed that whole year of AAU.
Mhm.
Obviously playing in the season. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that definitely hurt the recruitment process. And even when I came back, going into my senior year, that AAU season, I definitely wasn't at my 100% like
Mhm.
being back to where I was or where
Yeah.
I was, during my senior year. So
Yeah.
it was definitely a slower recruitment process, and um, I don't say like I didn't get all the coaches to reach out that I wanted to, but
Mhm.
um, it was what it was, and I was super blessed that UNC took me in and gave me a home.
Yeah.
So no, I'm super thankful for them.
Yeah. And so now you come to UNC last year. You had a phenomenal year last year at UNC. And so talk about the difference between or what did you see or observe as a difference between the high school game versus the college game? What's if you had to like pick one or two things, what would you say would be the biggest differences between high school and college basketball?
I would say the big thing is probably the speed and the size,
Okay.
and then also how detailed you have to be with everything you do.
Mhm.
Coach Smiley loves, playing off 2 feet. He'll say that a million times.
Yeah.
And I think that's something I really noticed was like the guys are so strong and so fast that if you're going up off 1 foot and throwing
Mhm.
the ball around, like it's a turnover every time. And so playing off 2 feet was definitely a big adjustment from
Yeah.
coming to high school where you can just jump over guys.
Mhm.
So I think those are
Yes.
the two biggest things is just the
Mhm.
speed and the size, and then also how detailed the college game is and how much time and effort goes into every single thing.
Yeah. And speed is a common theme I've interviewed football guys. I interviewed Andrew Alirez, one of the wrestlers earlier. Speed is a common thing in terms of how
For
change
sure.
between high school and college. And so, but now you hit the transfer portal this summer, and now you're at GCU. Can you walk me through kind of your the difference between your high school recruiting versus kind of you in the transfer portal and how you approached that and ended up at GCU?
Yeah, I mean the transfer portal is definitely way crazier than coming out of high school. Just the
Yeah.
number of coaches that hit you up, you
Okay.
know, just how they recruit you. It's completely different, and
Mhm.
it's a lot more, to be honest, coming out of the portal.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're saying the portal is a little bit was it more was it harder in the high school recruiting process versus the portal, or was it easier to get it? You said it was easier to get in contact with coaches and get coaches to reach out from the transfer.
I would say for me it was easier just mainly because I knew where I wanted to go pretty much
Yeah.
going into the portal.
Okay.
But I know, I mean, it would definitely be harder than, coming out of high school just because, the second you hit that portal, it was like, 50 different coaches hitting you up or whatever. So
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
definitely a crazy, crazy, crazy experience.
It's chaotic, and that's the thing. Transfer portal, NIL, over the last few years has really blossomed and blown up. So
Yeah.
you see the chaos that ensues within that process.
Mhm.
Hey folks, if you haven't heard, I've partnered with Boxed Water. Boxed water is better because it's made from 92% renewable material. It also comes in a variety of flavors such as grapefruit, cucumber, lemon, and their newest summer flavor, watermelon. So head on over to boxedwaterisbetter.com and grab some boxed water for yourself today. Now, let's get back to the episode. Before we go on, what are you kind of looking forward to now at GCU? What do you see? What do you bring, or kind of what do you see as a strength that you bring to the team, and kind of what are you looking forward to most this season?
I think as far as what I bring, I think I'm a good shooter,
Uh-huh.
a bigger guard. Uh, I'm sneaky athletic, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think what I'm most excited about is definitely, just being on a team that's been to March Madness before. Last year they were in March Madness, and so
Yeah.
being on, a winning team and trying to get back to do the same thing, get back to March Madness, and win the WAC again. So I think that's what I'm excited for. Is just seeing how this team operates and seeing what we can do and how far we can go.
And the tournament is such a special, thing. It's like you're a lot of guys that are in the tournament, their draft stock or their stock rises if they're playing well and they're playing well in the tournament. And that month, that 30 days or 28 days or however long it is, that can define your future and kind of when you're in there. So I'm excited for you, excited for GCU, to repeat as WAC champions, go back into the tournament, make a deep run into the tournament this year. And so
Mhm.
we'll kind of transition now into kind of a rapid fire segment. And this is, I like to have fun with it with my guests and kind of do a little rapid fire. So you ready for this, Caleb?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Favorite basketball player?
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. Okay. Any pregame superstition or ritual that you have?
Yeah, I have to put my right shoe on before I put my left shoe on.
Okay. Favorite shoe brand that you've worn?
Nike.
Nike. Okay.
Are you talking about specific? Like hooping shoes, I like the Giannis's or the
Okay.
Kyrie's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hoop and shoes is okay. Giannis, Kyrie's okay. I'm a big KD guy. I got the KD.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a fan of the KDs.
Okay.
I
Okay.
just got a pair of some KDs and I'm not a fan.
Mm-hmm. Toughest opponent you faced in college so far?
Marcus Sasser.
Okay. Okay. Yep. Yep. Houston, isn't it? And then favorite arena to play in?
Man. Um Other than UNC's obviously, I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
say Colorado State.
Colorado State. Okay. Okay. Uh, favorite basketball drill that you do, or that you've gone through in practice?
Jeez, anything coming off a pick and roll.
Okay. Ooh, this is a good one. What's your favorite basketball movie? Basketball related movie?
Uh, I'm gonna say Blue Chips.
Blue Chips. Okay. Okay. Most memorable shot that you've made in a game, high school or college, anytime in your basketball career, what's the most memorable shot you
It
have?
wasn't a shot, it was a dunk in the state
Okay.
championship game. I dunked on a dude.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep, yep.
That's nice. That's nice. Uh, favorite basketball team in the NBA, professional NBA.
I'm gonna say the Cavs only because my favorite player in the NBA right now is Darius Garland.
Oh, I'm a Cavs fan too.
There we go.
Too, man. So there's a little connection there. You know, what is who's been the most influential person in your career so far, basketball
My
wise?
dad. My
Dad.
dad for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, if you weren't playing basketball, what other sport would you play? Or what?
Honestly, probably like tennis or something.
Okay.
Something different. Yeah.
Something different. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. And then are you a big are you a big coffee guy or tea guy?
Coffee. I actually started
Okay.
drinking coffee going into my freshman year, and now I drink it
Okay.
all the time.
Okay. Favorite vacation spot for you?
California.
California. Okay. And two more. Favorite basketball related social media account that you follow?
Gee. Uh, I'm gonna say timeout, Arizona.
That matters. Okay, okay.
Those are my
Is
guys.
it
Yeah.
what is it about them that makes them your favorite?
They post me and my little brother. So.
Ah, and you'll be playing with your brother at GCU, correct? If I'm
Yep.
not
Yep. Exactly.
so.
Yep.
That'll be a fun tandem to watch this season. And the last one is best advice that you've ever gotten, basketball wise, um, in your career.
Jeez. Uh, just put in the work every day, even when you are tired of it, or you feel overwhelmed, or you
Yeah,
feel burnt out. Consistency is what makes you good. So,
for sure, for sure. So we kind of ended that segment on kind of the best advice that you've received in your career. Kind of turning it on to you now. That question is, if you were talking to a youth basketball player, young basketball player, coming into high school or even before that, what kind of advice would you give to younger players and next generation of players that are coming up through middle school, high school, and those ranks? Will be your best advice that you'd give them?
I would say probably just you're gonna have to make sacrifices if you want it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna see your friends going out, doing whatever. Um, but if you really want to play at the next level, and you want to make this, something you can do for a living,
Mm-hmm.
like anything, it requires sacrifices. And so, hard work, like I just said,
Yeah.
consistency is what makes you good. And so, sacrificing some of the, tough things that you have to sacrifice to make it is what you have to do. So just,
Yeah. And it
be
kind of
willing to sacrifice if you want it.
takes me back to, I was watching actually on the NBA's Twitter. They posted a thing of Giannis talking about, like, it's not just like skills in basketball that make you great, it's the consistency factor. And you've mentioned that a couple times there as well. And you look at guys like LeBron and KD and Giannis now for 10 years straight have been dominating the league, have that consistency that they've built up within their game. And so, yeah, you're definitely right on that in terms of making sure you're consistent, you work hard, you're disciplined, and
For sure.
you can grow on that. So, but yeah, it's all the time that we had for this episode of Athlete Insights podcast. Again, you can follow Caleb on Twitter and Instagram. I think it's at Caleb Shaw 30.
That's right. Yep.
Those. So You can follow him on Twitter and Instagram there as well. You can follow this podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, any other podcast hosting site, wherever it's at, our podcast will be there. So again, I want to thank Caleb. Thank you for taking the time, man, to join me and kind of talk and chop it up a little bit with me about your basketball career and
For sure. Appreciate you having me, man.
yeah. But until then, we'll see you next time.